Hey everyone, welcome to Craving Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Now in this video, I'm going to discuss the idea of possibly bringing back characters from previous Scream films. Now Radio Silence has just revealed a few days ago that they are so far down the rabbit hole in Scream movies that everything is up for grabs. So, it has started me thinking about what characters could possibly make their return in the franchise. And for this video, it's time to discuss the possible return of Angelina Tyler from Scream 3. Let's go! So the idea of Angelina returning might make you ask, how is that possible since she was killed by Roman in Scream 3? But was she? What did we really see? What we saw was Roman stabbing Angelina in the shoulder. One stab to the shoulder as they're running down the hall. And next thing you know, we see Courtney Cox and Parker Posey, who are up on the second level looking down, and they look down to see Angelina laying on the bottom two steps of the stairwell. We see her, we see her chest and her head and her face, of course, and look down and see her. And then what do we see next? We see her body mysteriously being dragged away out of view. And then they, of course, give that iconic scream, dual scream, which is great for the movie. And that's it. We don't see her again. Or do we? So listen, here's the thing. We are in a franchise that is known for deception. Heck, we have Billy getting stabbed allegedly in Scream 1, one of the greatest twist surprises of all time in my book. I mean, it was fantastic. Well, in the same movie, in Scream 3, we've got Roman doing his own fake death in Scream 3, the very same movie we're talking about. And so it's not out of the question or in any way absurd to suggest that this murder quote of Angelina was a fake out killing. It was a fake out stab, and then Roman drags her away out of view because she's fully alive. I mean, in my mind, I can picture literally her being dragged underneath that stairwell where they don't see her anymore, and she pops up. She hops right up out of view, and she goes off to get into costume, to be another Ghostface killer, to do some more killings, or she just leaves. She just takes off and says, hey, remember, she's an actress. She's in Hollywood. She's trying to make it big. She's trying to make it big in Hollywood. She wins the contest to play Sydney. The whole story. And so she could have been like, okay, great, this is great. And then she's the accomplice for Roman, because I firmly believe she is the second killer in Scream 3. It just makes sense. There's no other logical explanation for the way that Wes shot this movie. We know that there has to be two killers. It's impossible to be one killer. I've given the argument here on the channel multiple times. I even did a whole video here on the channel if you want to look it up. It's called The Secret in Plain Sight. And I go into this, I break this down for a lot deeper detail. But the bottom line is, in my mind, Angelina is the second killer. She was always the second killer. She just never was revealed. We only had one reveal. So that leaves me then with the question of what happened to Angelina. Either she was truly killed by Roman, which is possible. Maybe he did kill her and didn't want any loose ends. He didn't want his accomplice to be alive. It was going to be, as Jill said, a sole survivor in his mind. And so maybe he really did kill her, and then for some unexplained reason drags her body away, which makes no sense because he didn't do that to anybody else in the entire film. It wasn't like an MO or anything. So, but whatever, maybe he did. Okay, I'll give you that. But I think it's also very possible, just as likely as he died, as she was killed, just as likely that she was not killed, We never. And then he dragged her away, and she went off to, to take off and go into hiding or whatever the case might be. All right. Or better yet, he drags her off, and then later on, and we just don't see at the end when all the police arrive and everyone shows up at the mansion, we find out that she is alive, that she's a survivor. She's someone that actually did survive the events of Scream 3, and as far as they know, she's a victim. She's a victim just like they were, just like Sydney was, and Gail and Dewey, and she survived, but she's, going to heal now and go into recovery and do all the things she needs to do. Which leads me, ladies and gentlemen, to my mindset for her possible return in Scream 6. The stage is set. She survived the events of Scream 3. Whether or not you think she was a Ghostface killer or not, I'll table that. I'll shelve that for now. But she survived the events. Let's say she was a survivor. She survived, and now, guess what? She makes it a reappearance. They bring Angelina back in Scream 6. She could be a therapist. She could be a counselor. She could be in a number of roles helping, victims of abuse or murder, or not murder, but, attacks and, attempted murders. That's what I'm going to say. And those kind of things. There's many different kinds of ways you could go about it. Or she could be nothing like that. She could be completely like, the past is in the past. She doesn't want to talk about it. She's moved on in her life. She's overcome it after, getting a lot of counseling, a lot of help. She overcame everything, her physical wounds. She's conquered her mental wounds now, and she's a self-made business person. She could be a self-made businesswoman out there in a corporate America job. I mean, there could be all kinds of different ways to do it. Totally. But my thing is, let's see her now. Let's bring her back. Let's see what's going on in Angelina's life, no matter whether she was a killer or a victim or both. Either way, let's see what happened. Now, the twist of all this is, number one, if she really was just a victim who was attacked by Roman in the movie, in Milton's house, if that's all it was, then she has a victim story to tell. She can help Sam and Tara, and anyone else who may be involved in Scream 6 with new characters. However the storyline's going to go, she's there to help them, mentor them, be that kind of person that they could lean on for help and advice, and who's been down that road before. Perfect candidate to do that. And that's what she does. She's just a great character. She's there to be the hero and basically in a lot of ways. Or you could do it, which is what my original envisionment was here, is, she is the killer in Scream 3. She's the accomplice to Roman, and no one knew it. No one knows it. She survived, and it was a fake out death, or even if maybe it was intended to kill her and she survived. Either way, she's alive, and everyone thought she was the victim. They treated her and helped her, and little did they know they were actually nurturing back one of the killers in Scream 3. And what we find out is she's kept this secret all these years. No one knows. The only person that knew died, which was Roman. And so what we find out in Scream 6 is, while she's there helping people, and she's, all these murders are starting to happen, and we find out at the end of 6 that Angelina is one of the killers in Scream 6, or the mastermind of Scream 6, perhaps. And we find out that she then confesses to being the accomplice to Roman Bridger in Scream 3. That would just be amazing. Part of her motivation was, back in the events of Scream 3, back in Milton's house, it was supposed to happen a whole different way. She goes in this whole backstory of what was supposed to have happened and what the original plan was, and how Sydney messed up everything, and all. There's just all kinds of ways you could write it. You could write this in all kinds of different scenarios, backstory. But my point is, just as a high level, I think it would be absolutely awesome to see Angelina back in the movie. Emily Mortimer is a great actress anyway, so I would love to see her, period. And then put her in this role of Angelina, And whether you want to write her as a victim turned hero, or if you want to write her as a victim / killer turned killer again, either one of those scenarios would be fun, and I think could be effectively done. And I would personally enjoy either of those scenarios. However, I would be most satisfied personally if we see Angelina return and we finally see her confess to being the accomplice in Scream 3, where she did help Roman kill all those people, which I firmly believe is locked in. It's a lock done. It's done. It's what happened. And we could actually see her confess to that on camera. That would be so cool. So, guys, that's my idea right now for Angelina Tyler returning to Scream 6, if it's possible. I think it is. I think it's in play. And when Tyler said that regarding all the previous films that everything is up for grabs, I have to believe, I'm going to take him at his word. In that case, this has to have been at least a point of discussion, I would think, somewhere along the way. All right, guys, now I want to know what you think about the idea of bringing Angelina back. What are your thoughts, opinions? What are your ideas? What are your theories of how they could work? Do you think that she would come back and reveal herself to be the killer in Scream 3 as I'm hoping for? Or do you see a different scenario? One of the other options I provided or something completely different? I want to hear what you have to say about it. So leave your comments below now. So let's start our discussion. Well, guys, that's going to be it for this update, but I'll be back soon with more Scream and other horror movie content. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, this is Craven Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Thanks for watching.